Well, Krish, why don't you introduce yourself to our listeners? You can look my way or look that way, but who's Krish?
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
I'm Krish. I'm the founder and CEO of No. We're on a mission to make every frontline worker a superhero.
So what does that exactly mean? Because I get the privilege of hanging out with you at different trade shows, so I know where you're at and where you're going, but I'd love for our audience to hear a little bit more about that, because that's a huge, bold vision that I think is amazing, and I think it's great that you're on that path.
No, absolutely. So I think two things. So first of all, on a day-to-day, whether you're working in a restaurant or a manager, you should just get inundated with obviously your day-to-day job, but then you have data, you have all of the things which are just day-to-day chaos. We want to streamline all of that, where you can almost run the things that you need to do like a playbook, right? So somebody joins the organization, they get our app, the No app, and then No essentially becomes like a sidekick that drives your day-to-day. So you don't have to sit there wondering, what do I have to do today? Or if I have a question, the app will answer it. So it can train you, it can give you all the information you need. It has a task management feature as well. And it's on task management on steroids. So it's not just you don't need another checklist app. There's 50 of them out there. What you want is all of these things to sing and dance with each other. So the worker the day-to-day for either the worker or the manager is just super simple. The app drives everything and frees up time and reduces all the chaos so that they can then focus on the guest.
And in our industry, we know that the turnover is typically a pretty challenging part of the space that we're in.
Yeah.
Even pre-pandemic, but post-pandemic, it's even worse that people don't want to come into work. And then when they do, they're not staying for super long periods of time. So something like that, help me understand, how does it actually work? Because I hear a lot of people say, oh, we're going to make their lives easier.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, they don't think through those things.
Yeah.
So how does it work with these new employees or these employees that might be taking on a new role or having to do something different?
No, it's a great question. So why people churn for various reasons, but some of the big ones are, one, they're just frustrated with their job. They don't know what they have to do. There's research which shows that the average restaurant employee doesn't stay for more than 2 or 3 months, right? A huge factor of that is just frustration with the job, not knowing what their job entails. Maybe they took on the job and didn't realize what it was about.
Yeah. They're getting yelled at by guests because they don't know what they're doing, because they don't have tools like what you have.
And the manager's busy. Maybe we don't have the time to coach them, guide them, do all of the kind of things that they do. And finally, the other reason they leave is because they don't feel like they're part of something, right? We all talk about culture all day long. The building culture is challenging.
Yep.
And how do you connect the top floor of the organization with the shop floor, right?
Yep. With the people that are actually interacting with your guests. Yep.
And those are reasons why people churn. And with No, what happens is management has a direct line to every last person in the store, right? So we have this beautiful feature, which is almost like a TikTok, but for your organization, which allows you to share company news, right? Celebrate wins that you're having, not just wins, hey, you did a great job, but maybe make them feel like they're part of the organization. I was just listening to the Brinker CEO talk about how he sets the vision, and then at the end, it drives 31% sales growth, right?
Yep.
But that growth was driven by every last worker and every last manager. Now, if you make them feel like they're part of that 31% growth story and why Chili's has had such a massive turnaround, they would feel like they're actually part of something.
Absolutely. And you talk about even churn, oftentimes it's because they don't have a path forward. They don't know how to get there.
That's right.
And unfortunately, the manager, to your point, has too many things to do. So that one-on-one coaching, that apprenticeship that we might have had 20 or 30 years ago doesn't exist. And number one, and number two, they don't have the time, they don't have the energy. And number two, oftentimes this generation doesn't learn that way. They're learning through a digital means. So talk to me about how you philosophically think through that.
Yeah, no, 100%. So nobody has the time to sit through any long training content. Even if they had the time, nobody has the attention span. In fact, I guarantee you, any listener listening to this podcast has probably looked at their phone 6 times
while they're
listening to this. So that's how we all live in. And if you're a Gen Z, millennial, anything like that, then that's what you've grown up with, right? And that convenience, that quick access to information, that being able to do all of these things quickly is the way today's workforce wants to work. And we have basically built that platform that bite sizes everything, right? And creates a playbook where if it's 8 o'clock in the morning, people don't have to think what they have to do because the app essentially prompts you saying, hey, it's 8 o'clock, time for you to go do this walkthrough of something, right? So then there's no frustration. There's absolutely clear on what they need to do. And you also don't have to get yelled at later on because maybe you forgot something or didn't do something, right? Which adds more to the frustration and so on.
So for those brands that maybe don't have it documented, I know for me, and it's been a long time, lots of gray hairs here. So it's been a long time since I worked in the core restaurant. But for me, it was follow these guys around for 3 days to figure out what you're supposed to do. And maybe they did it right, maybe they did it wrong. that was part of the training when you were server on the floor. For those that maybe haven't documented or still in that place, how do you help restaurants get to a place where they are documenting those things, where they are putting those systems in place? Because that is a critical component of it, is just to define who you are and where you're going prior to recording the tools that are going to allow them there.
And by the way, I don't think it's completely replaceable. So we're in the restaurant business after all. Yeah. So that in-person thing will continue to remain. But two things to your thing. So number one is we have a collection of templates, libraries, content partners, and things like that. So we can, if you don't have something, we can give that to you as well. So that's that's one. But secondarily, I think we have complete, I don't want this to be a sales conversation kind of thing, but we have complete white glove service. So if you don't have something, we can help you shoot it. We can edit it. We can do all of that for you as well as part of the No platform.
That's great.
But more importantly, I think we work with you as partners. We have this big saying at No. We say, not vendors, partners.
Yep.
We hate it when vice versa. We hate it when people treat us like vendors as well. So because we say, this is a long-term partnership. If you have a problem, we are here to help you solve it. If it's not in our world, we point you to somebody else. But the codifying thing, we have so many best practices from so many places as well. So templates, we help you think through these things. We have partnerships, lots of things ways to solve that.
Yeah, no, and I think that's incredible. And the fact that you guys have been there, done that is also a piece that I think underestimate. There's certain things that make people secret sauce. I was just at Texas Roadhouse this week, and they have a different service model than even a Chili's. And so there's certain things that culturally are part of that. But then there's also things that are core to what you need to do. You need to check the salt shakers to make sure there's salt in there, and you need to fill them properly. You need to make sure that you're doing those things on a daily basis.
Yeah, but it goes more strategic as well. It's not just the tactical, because you're a brand. You want to ensure your brand standards flow all the way down to everybody, right? And it may be literally from how do you greet somebody when they come in. We have a Mexican restaurant chain which has an entire playbook on how you would come in, they say, hola, and they welcome you for something, right? Or when they serve you something, what they have to say. So it's not just the tactical stuff, but it's also strategically how you position your brand and make sure brand standards and everything like that flow all the way down to the last person. That person leaves in a couple of months. You're not now, again, oh crap, like I have bad service until the next person picks up. You almost plug and play.
Yeah, no, and I think that's incredible. And I think it resonates with us. When we go to a Chick-fil-A, it's very consistent.
Exactly.
And part of why they continue to be successful, I think Chili's is, as you talked about with the CEO, they've figured out that way that creates that Chili's experience. And we also have been in those brands that don't have that and they struggle.
Yep.
Last piece is the micro-learning aspect. And help me understand why micro-learning is so critical. And really even the micro-learning when I need it, where I need it. Because that's the piece that I think a lot of people just learned it 6 weeks ago when you went through training. Don't you remember? Whereas having it in an app, that ability to get to that data, because that's where we live every day. I have a plumbing problem. I first search YouTube. Real silly story. I just bought a nail gun. I'm having a struggle with. Did I go back to Home Depot to have them? Did I go to the website? No. I went on YouTube and said, Ryobi nail gun, nails bending. And amazing. This video shows up that says, oh, this is what your problem is. I fix it. Problem goes away. So in this world today, I think everybody is in that on-demand. So the fact that you guys are able to fulfill that where they're at, is that really part of the secret sauce?
It is. And it's on demand, but it's also with all the AI stuff now. We can literally suck in, imagine the nail, we can suck in that manual from Ryobi, and in literally 3 seconds, the staff can now ask questions against that manual and get answers, right? So we can take your recipes, we can take your menus, we can take all of that, digitize that inside No in seconds, and then you can start getting answers anytime you want. You don't have to flick through page 4 of my menu to find something. So if you have a customer who comes in who's vegan, you can just ask a question and it'll give you the answer.
That was exactly where my head was going, is I've got somebody that doesn't like shellfish or has a peanut allergy, and what are the items that they need to avoid? Is that kind of a common 100%. Use case for you guys?
Yeah, it is. Absolutely. And to build on that, we also have this concept where you can place QR codes and things like that throughout your restaurant. You scan a QR code, it will take you directly to the training as well. So imagine that you have a coffee machine that you have to clean every day at the end of the day. You just scan the QR, it'll take you to step-by-step instructions on how to clean that coffee machine.
All right, so when are you selling McDonald's so that I can get my McFlurry? Because that's the biggest challenge.
I'm happy to take that call whenever that comes in.
I love it. Krish, how do people learn more? How do people get engaged with the brand and learn more and talk with you and your team?
And again, white glove. So happy to talk to people directly. I'm Krish at getnoapp.com. But if you just search for us, No the app. We have 1.8 million people use our app each month. So you can find us quite easily. But I'll be personally delighted to help anybody.
Love that. Last thing, real quick. Multi-language.
Yes.
So talk to me a little bit about multi-language, because I know you guys are also an international,
Yeah, we're in
international
26
brand.
countries.
So 26 countries. So the fact that oftentimes a lot of these products that are similar to yours started in the US, and that's the only place that they've done it. And then you've got native language speakers that are speaking Korean or Chinese or Spanish. So I guess help our listeners understand how that also translates, because I think it's a critical piece that as our workforce continues to get more diverse, you have to meet them where they are.
Yeah.
The thing that I keep hearing you say is we're meeting them where they are and what they're looking for.
Yeah. No, the app works in practically any language you want. We have now with the AI stuff, we have things that convert the training as well into different languages. We have many new functionality coming, which will help you. Like today, we have a way you can, from a prompt, create training in different languages, right?
That's incredible.
And so all of these sorts of functionality, it's not perfect today, and AI is evolving every month. You talk to me in 3 months, this thing will be on a completely different planet.
Yeah.
So I think one of the things also is we try to be super nimble, because the technology world is evolving faster than any time before. But at the same time, language and stuff is almost become right now table stakes.
Yep, absolutely.
So we have plenty of functionality like that. You can create a training, you can learn it in different languages. It'll give you stats across everything for the managers. All of that's possible.
Love it. Krish, thank you very much for stopping by. Thank you for what you guys do to ultimately make the restaurant a better place, and have a great rest of the conference.
Pleasure having you. Thank you so much for having me here.
Awesome.